Hey, my name is Hannah Hill. I'm the Policy Director of the National Foundation for Gun Rights, and I wanted to give you a really quick update on our lawsuit against San Jose's first in the nation gun ownership tax. So we had our first day in court today, and so this was a really good time to give you a quick update on exactly where the lawsuit stands currently, where we're at on enforcement, and where we're anticipating the lawsuit going in the days and weeks ahead. So first off, San Jose passed the nation's first gun ownership tax. So basically how this works, San Jose residents would be required to pay an annual fee, which is actually a tax, to a nonprofit that would be educating and providing gun violence services selected by the city of San Jose. That's just for the privilege of owning a gun. They also are including in that ordinance a liability insurance mandate, also to be paid by all gun owners. So basically what they're doing with that is they're holding gun owners responsible for the actions of criminals. Needless to say, this is, of course, wildly unconstitutional. So our legal team filed a lawsuit against it as soon as it passed. So we've been preparing for this day for months. And today we had a chance to make our first arguments actually in court before a judge. Now, I should also mention that 3 weeks ago, the Supreme Court changed the standard of review for Second Amendment cases when they issued New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruen. In Bruen, they basically said no longer can the lower courts run cost-benefit analyses on whether or not we would like it if we actually upheld the Second Amendment. No, you have to start with the text of the Second Amendment, say, does this gun rule, this gun regulation, this gun control law, does it actually implicate conduct protected by the Second Amendment? And if so, is there any historical analog that would indicate that the founders and the framers of the Second and 14th Amendments would have been okay with this type of gun control? And of course, by that standard, there are very few gun regulations that actually hold up under that kind of scrutiny. So we were very excited about this day. In our hearing today, and also in the briefing that led up to today, we were able to say in no uncertain terms that Bruen absolutely obliterates the anti-gun arguments being brought forward by the city. So we were very interested to see what the city was going to say about the ruling, and they did not disappoint. They took the very bold position that Bruen doesn't actually apply to the ordinance because the ordinance doesn't regulate guns. So we'll just say it in their own words. What they told the court is that what Bruen did not do was raise serious questions about the constitutionality of the San Jose ordinance here. To the contrary, Bruen indicates that the ordinance does not even trigger Second Amendment analysis because it does not infringe anyone's right to keep and bear arms. That is a very brazen position to take, and of course, it is wildly untrue. You would not dream of taxing the exercise of any other type of Bill of Rights guarantee. For instance, the equivalent would be to say, if you think you might be wanting to pray anytime in the next year, or to attend church, or to speak out in public, exercise your rights of free speech, you have to pay an annual fee, perhaps either to the city or to a nonprofit, to cover your exercise of that. And you also have to have liability insurance for any harm that your words might do. That's wildly unconstitutional, and nobody would ever give it the time of day. Unfortunately, San Jose is still mired in thinking that the Second Amendment is a second-class right, and that is essentially what they told the court today. So our lawyers have had a chance to let the court know that this is actually very far from true, that the Second Amendment is implicated by the actual imposition of a tax just in exchange for the privilege of owning a gun. So in court today, our lawyers were able to counter those arguments and to point out that Bruen absolutely does apply, that there is no historical analog for any type of gun ownership tax. In fact, San Jose, by their own admission, has brought the nation's first gun ownership tax, which means there cannot be a historical analog for a novel gun control scheme like they are, by their own admission, saying that it is. We had the chance to make our arguments in court today. We don't have an exact date for when the court will rule on our preliminary injunction, but we are hopeful that it will be soon. If the court denies a preliminary injunction to suspend the ordinance's enforcement, which is what we are asking for right now, then we have the chance to appeal that to the Ninth Circuit. I should also mention that right now San Jose has voluntarily suspended the enforcement of the gun ownership tax. And the reason for that is ostensibly for the purposes of litigation, although I do believe they've had some trouble getting the nonprofit off of the ground as well. All that to say that according to San Jose, it will be a number of months before they actually start charging the tax. Now, of course, they can change their mind on that at any point. There is nothing stopping them from doing that, which is one of the reasons we're asking for this preliminary injunction, because they can play with the dates as much as they like, and they will not hesitate to do that if it helps them out on the legal side of things. As soon as we find out what the court's ruling is, we will share that with you all, and we will keep you updated on the status of the ordinance's enforcement. It goes without saying that if we cannot stop this in San Jose, that it will be spreading to the rest of the country soon, especially with how Bruen changed the landscape for Second Amendment litigation. We are going to see more and more of these types of liability insurance mandates and gun ownership taxes and things of that nature popping up, and we will have to fight them in court. So we already know that national anti-gun groups assisted with the drafting of this ordinance. We know that San Jose is getting pro bono legal services, which in all likelihood does mean that the national anti-gun organizations are backing that as well. And we know that one of them even took the unusual step of filing a brief just a few days ago at the district court level because they were so worried that the court would rule in our favor. So we've got them nervous. That's a good thing. We've got the Bruen ruling, and we've got all the ammo we need to win this, but we will have to outlast the gun grabbers, which we are fully prepared to do. We're going to take this all the way to the Supreme Court if we have to do that. So if you'd like to learn more, you can visit our website at gunrightsfoundation.org. And if you would like to chip in to help pay the legal fees, this, again, to bring forward the best legal teams that we can to defend your Second Amendment rights, it's not cheap. So if you'd like to help out with that, you can do that at the link as well. Thank you so much, and we will be back soon with more updates.